My name is ROPERT, and I will introduce this afternoon, which will be dedicated to the Internet of Things market and overall all its impact on the different industries, both consumer and industrial. So I'm here to introduce this afternoon. I will provide you the main trends and the big picture of this market development. At first, I will provide you some elements regarding the scope of this emerging market, especially through a very detailed segmentation and by providing you some key market figures extracted from our latest market report. And then I will introduce a new segmentation with the emerging markets, and I will make a strong focus on both smart home and industrial internet, which will be covered during the two roundtables in this afternoon. So, as you may know, Internet of Things is not a market, but a combination of different markets. We can distinguish at least 4 different markets addressing different type of objects. Those markets have already and obviously different market dynamics and different orders of magnitude. For instance, if we take into account all the things or objects connected to the internet, we see that, and we estimate that by 2025, around 155 billion objects will be connected to the internet. As you could see on this slide, the main market will be the object with an electronic ID through RFID tags or 2D barcodes, and this market will represent 80% of this total number. In opposition, the very popular wearables and connected things and connected objects, which is on everyone's lips here, only represent 1% of this market in volume. Of course, those markets are very different, and their value chain and the player positioning are also different. If you take as an example the MNO's positioning, we obviously see that they are mainly positioned on the connected devices, such as tablets, smartphones, or laptops, and mainly on M2M. In opposition, you could see that internet players are mainly positioned on consumer markets, such as connected devices, like tablets and laptops mainly, and wearables and connected objects, and few consumer applications on M2M. If we get rid of the markets which are object with electronic ID and the tablet market, we can distinguish 4 different new markets and emerging markets. I will go through in detail on the industrial internet and the smartphone today, so both business and consumer markets. So the smartphone market is a very broad and complex market. Actually, it's often seen as the connected version of the home automation market, which is considered, even by the industry, as a commercial failure. Today, we see many applications, and maybe too many applications in this concept, from pure lifestyle application or even total vertical application in terms of security or energy. Those applications are provided by many players, from consumer electronics players, household appliance players, even telecom players, even vertical players as well. So the value chain here is dominated mainly by the product manufacturers, because if you assess the total value of this market along the value chain, you see that the bulk of revenues coming from the product sales and not really by the services. Services could emerge, and there are already some services in the market, but we see that they are pretty limited, especially outside energy management and security, and mainly because there are interrogations regarding the viability of business model leading to data monetization issues. On this slide, you see that when we talk about services, we can distinguish two types of services. The first service is the product-based services, which are provided by the connectivity mainly. We are talking about remote monitoring, remote control, remote, etc. But here, the key services are obviously the value-added services, which have already been mentioned this morning. So these value-added services are referring to the data exploitation, and those data are generated by the product itself. And today, for some objects, we have still interrogation about the real value of the data, especially leading to a non-clear value-added services. Mainly because the object do not generate any valuable data. Just to conclude on smart home, we see that there are few drivers like energy management and security application, but there are still many strong barriers to remove, especially for the market takeoff. One of the key barriers is the technical fragmentation, mainly because multiple protocols are used. Most of them are not interoperable. On the consumer perspective, one of the key barriers is the price. Just the price. I mean, if you compare the price of connected object and non-connected object with similar features, you could see that the price comparison or the price differentiation could reach a ratio of 10:1. So there is this is a strong barrier. And the rising issue is coming from the privacy and security aspects, especially through the entrance of new players like internet giants, especially Google in this market, with the objective of collecting more and more personal data that they will try to monetize after that. So to conclude on this market, we see that the smartphone market will take off, definitely, but it could take longer time than expected. It's quite provocating, but it's overall to initiate the debate during the first roundtable. Now, if we focus on the industrial internet, which is, I mean, a very promising market for industrials, it covers two major concepts. The first one is the smart factory, especially through network production, and the other one is the connected end products. Of course, those connected objects provide many opportunities for industrials, especially in terms of cost savings, mainly through internal industrial optimization, and it could provide new services as well, especially on the top of the products, or even instead of the products, to introduce a new pricing model, the product as a service. So connected objects is often seen as a key enabler and a key pillar for industrial giants to initiate and accelerate their servicization strategy. But it's already a reality. Leading industrial heavyweights have their own data-oriented department, like GE, or Safran, or Michelin. Just a figure to illustrate this trend. GE generated last year $1 billion around this new business. So it's quite significant already. And then just to finish, and because the use cases are even more valuable than any long speech, I will make a focus on Michelin solution. This slide illustrates the Michelin solution architecture. The green box represents the traditional architecture of the legacy products, let's say non-connected products. The rest of the architecture relates and refers to the analytics and big data architecture. So it's easy to understand that the industrial internet is based on connected products and data and analytics. And let's say industrial internet is all about analytics. When you look at more deeply on the commercial approach of Michelin, we see that the industrial internet will provide a deep impact on their business transformation. Sorry. On the left, you see the non-connected products, so the legacy commercial offering, where Michelin already provides a scheduled fleet maintenance. So every 6 months, the fleet manager comes to the garage and checks all the tires. By embedding connectivity onto their products, it enables to Michelin to provide real-time preventive tire monitoring. And overall, it allows Michelin to change its business model and its pricing solution by enabling a tire as a service model, because now Michelin could charge its customers on the real usage. So definitely this topic, this industrial concept, will have strong impact on the industry, and this will be discussed on the second roundtable. That's it for my presentation. I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Luc Breton, and I hope you will spend a good afternoon, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be there with you. I'm Luc Breton. I'm in charge at Orange Group of the Techno Center and Orange Valley. Techno Center and Orange Valley are the two factories for innovation, for product and services for the whole group, which means 30 countries for the retail market and more than 200 countries for the IP presence of Orange Business Service, represented this morning by Thierry Bonhomme, in the world. I have the chance to have teams in London, Paris, Abidjan in Ivory Coast, and Amman in Jordania. Why in Africa and Middle East? Because if you want to sell product to your customer locally, you have to invent the innovation locally. If it's not the case, you're dead. So that's why we have bright people there to ensure the quality of the innovation, the closer of the customer as possible. To conclude with my presentation, I'm also a member or have close relationship with the labs we have in San Francisco, in Tokyo, and Beijing. I'm also part of 2 think tanks, which are the Institute G9+ and Renaissance Numérique, and coordinate each year a white paper or a book. Next one will be for the presidential run in France, and the title will be 2017, 100 Ideas for a Digital France. That's what we hope. And the previous ones that are free, you can download it on internet, are Big Data, the Innovation Accelerator, and IoT, the new Eldorados of connected economy. That's the purpose today. So I choose the Show Hello banner. You can see here the Hello 3 to highlight the importance of innovation for the Orange Group, and especially Stéphane Richard, our CEO. He presents himself this yearly innovation keynote, and I think he's the only European CEO to do that. So that's a good point for us, and that's why innovation is so important for Orange. So, as you may know, the Internet of Things is one of the 2 pillars of Orange Essential 2020 diversification strategy to achieve an IoT ambition of 600 million euros in 2018, so it means tomorrow. Orange has to work on the value proposition around 5 areas: object connectivity, distribution of objects, mass market services, enterprise services, and IoT data operator. I will focus on at the end of my pitch. So, to begin with connectivity, the first way to connect via the SIM card to the cellular network is very important, because more and more objects will connect in the coming days, in the coming months, and you will see that at Vegas in January. You will see that more and more in Barcelona some months after. Several watch models, for example, with a SIM will arrive on our market in 2016, the one from LG, Samsung, and so many others. You know, when you see an innovation in Vegas, the first year, there are few makers, and the year after, there are hundreds. So it's something that is blooming. The objects require the integration of the multi-SIM promise in our offers to make what? To make data share plan, to make identity management and specific service for multi-equipped users. We are also preparing ourselves to the evolution of the SIM from a removable SIM to the embedded SIM, the so-called eSIM. You know that, but you will experiment it. It's SIM as a service in the coming months. And these changes related to the SIM are starting to encourage new modes of distribution for pre-embedded connectivity into the object. You will buy on the shelf an object with the connectivity integrated in it, even if there is a SIM needed for that. And beyond collaboration with major manufacturers, we may also want to facilitate the integration of cellular connectivity into the object produced by startups. That's why we provide an on-the-shelf solution, such as the all-in-one 4G connection kit that we were very proud to present at Future en Scène in Paris earlier this year. It's a 4G kit. The size of silicon is this one, and you put it in almost any object, and it becomes a 4G connected object. That's very important to enable the ecosystem to innovate on top of Orange innovation. This solution can fit with a lot of very convenient solutions and situations with many days of autonomy and a very small form factor. And we invented the POPs module, and we won the Digital Service Award given by the Usine Digital some weeks ago, and it's a good recognition for us. Last but not least, we have also to make sure our existing mobile networks are evolving to be more adapted to the IoT needs. I mean, low power consumption, low cost, and so on. And the evolution of the 2G and 4G standards should enable us to make a critical step forward in 2017, 2018, and 5G obviously should natively embark IoT needs from 2020. So another way to connect via the alternative LPWA, low power wide area networks, is interesting. They can connect objects with low energy consumption, lower module costs, and they are able to optimize small and intermittent data transfer, and they require few base stations to provide good coverage on a given country or on a continental scale. So radio networks and devices will support this type of communication from 2018, that's very close to now, as part of our licensed spectrum. This means there will be a squeeze for players that are LPWA free or non-licensed frequencies in some months. But before this time, that will be short, there is a window of opportunity for us to deploy and operate LPWA networks in some of our countries, especially in the market in which we have an M2M traction, an M2M potential. And it's especially the case in France, but in other European countries. And in France, as you probably know, we announced we will deploy very fast a LoRa network. It has been decided, announced, and it's already on track, ongoing. And then the radio connectivity standard will evolve to soon reach the same characteristic. That's so important you understand that, to well know that the operator, we will begin with LoRa, and then we will integrate this kind of features in our core network, licensed network. Finally, we can connect objects to the network through a mobile or landline gateway. It's important for Orange to ensure the compatibility, it has been described by IDATE before, of these objects with our networks and to transport related data flows with a high quality of service and high security. Security, I think, is the buzzword today, because you know that Internet of Things is so messy with security today. So that's an important point of differentiation, and we take it very seriously at Orange because we are strong as we can, because we put some heavy investment on that, and I will come back to this point later on. So we can connect via a mobile gateway. Many objects, watches, bracelets, are connected to the smartphone via the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi connection, controlled by the OEM or the OS vendor. And in this context, we want to offer the right application to optimize the customer experience. So that's why at the Techno Center, for something like 2.5 years, the only talent, the only profile I hire are designers, because we have a lot of engineers at Orange, we have a lot of marketers, but we lack some very good designers, and I'm building at the heart of the Techno Center a UX direction that is very powerful. You can connect via a fixed gateway, and this gateway may be a box managed by the internet service provider, example the Livebox, or a specific gateway if you want to be OTT in front of other service provider, internet service provider, that's HomeLive. I saw the little icon on your slide, thank you, targeting all the household in the market with an OTT approach. In both cases, we need to offer a large range of connectivity options, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Z-Wave, Zigbee, and the hybrid way to connect all these different frequencies and protocols is very important, because we don't dream there will be an alignment tomorrow. The world is definitely hybrid, and we have to manage it, is what the customer are waiting from us. So after the connectivity, we can speak about the distribution, and diversification of the product requires a distribution experience in the stores, a merchandising strategy that is built on the brand strategy and based on training and incentive for sales. And why? Because IoT-related services are really the key and not the object. You will find objects, as I told you before, in Vegas. The first year is very innovative, and then it's very innovative, and then the year after you have hundreds of copycats of your innovation. So building in a fab lab a very complex IoT is not at stake. What is at stake is to master and to deliver a very fluid service. So that's why around 90% of the value is on the services and not on the objects. That's so important. And on top of that, or on the side of that, we can provide installation services, insurance, or specific payment options. So there is a very close link between distribution, connectivity, and the plans. I mean shared data plans, identity, cloud storage, and security. So I will focus now on the B2C services, then on the B2B, and then I will have finished my pitch. So B2C services. Our first focus, to come back on your presentation, is related to the smart home offers, including revenue derived from equipment related to the service. So smart home services, we delivered Home Live, which is a fixed-centric solution, making the link between all the connected objects at home, and MyPlug, a mobile-centric solution, doing the same, but only with a mobile connection. That's very useful when you want to equip in a given country that has a low quality of local loop, people that use their smartphone, or even not a smartphone, because you can monitor it through a single SMS. So that's very powerful. You can monitor your home through a single SMS. There are some vocabulary you have to learn. It takes 30 seconds, and then you are able to monitor it. And the third thing I want to add to perhaps to what you said about smart home, because you said it will take a bit longer to start up. And in fact, on monitored services, it's already up, and especially on monitored security. It represents a potential major revenue stream, as it is demonstrated already in the US, for example, or in some Asian country. It's very powerful with RPU and EBITDA that are very strong and quite impressive figures. So we are looking at that again. At the same time, we are managing some proof of concept around wearables and trackers. The use of wearables, watches, bracelets, they can be enriched by services around wellness, sports performance, monitoring, geolocalization. With LoRa, it's very easy to geofencing services, to develop geofencing services, geolocalization. The triangularization by the LoRa or the Wi-Fi is very interesting. And same on the car. The car is a place where there is a specific and critical need for connection. We launched earlier this year an airbox, a CarFi, that is very successful. You have it on the left bottom corner for you. The CarFi we launched so that your kids no more annoying you when you're driving. Don't use it while driving. Okay, so that's Home Live, Orange Drive, which is an app, the CarFi, that's for the B2C. In fact, POPs, this this device, so a 2G hub that enables you to gather data coming from, for example, smart wearables, but also medical devices, because when you come back from the hospital, you don't have to go to the doctor every day, but you want to be monitored on a daily basis, so that's very interesting. And we won the Digital Service Award with that device, so it's provided to businesses that want to enable their connected services on a white label. The same with MyPlug. Here you have the infrastructure with a startup which name is Telegraphics, and the app is Autonomy. We have accelerated through Orange Fab, our incubator and accelerator, and we provide on a white label base B2B services at home with a very simple mobile-only centric hub to our platform of data. So it's very easy to plug and play for some businesses that are not IoT dedicated and want to go in that value-added market. So on the business, so this is the way we go on the smart home, connecting some objects coming from Orange, then adding the community on top of our OTT solution, and then monitored services, and we will make some major announcement in the coming months around that, because it's a fantastic story, this smart home monitor services development that we are beginning. Okay, so on the B2B side, we aim at providing packaging solution suitable for verticals that has been described by other speakers this morning. Thus, in the field of transport fleet management, Orange has developed a fleet management business, and we have acquired in April this year the company Ocean, which makes us as a leader of this sector in Europe and in the world. And another emblematic sector is remote metering. I think you know M2O City, which carried out in co-investment with Veolia since 2011 and operates more than 1.2 million water meters. So that's a huge metering business. And these two examples, Ocean and the transport fleet, Veolia, M2O City, sorry, and Orange for the water metering, they illustrate the importance of partnership to address this activity. If you don't partnership, it's impossible to go in the verticals, and we are not legitimate to do that, because we are definitely an enabler of innovation and not a vertical at Orange. So we are also an IoT service integrator. You understand this with MyPlug, you understand this with POPs, for example, but we have others, or the gateway from HomeLive. So POPs, MyPlug are solutions that combine connectivity, hardware, software, and service platform, and we can provide all that on a white label mode to IoT third parties. So last but probably not least, more value-added layer consists into Orange as an IoT data operator. So we have a blooming ecosystem of IoTs. The exponential growth in number of connected devices in the coming years will generate a huge amount of data. Global worldwide data volume is doubling each 14 months, something like that, much more. And at the same time, you will have in 2020 more than 50% of all the data in the world produced by the objects. So that means that we are in the pure exponential growing. And for us, we manage this data by carrying it, by storing it, by securing it. So it's core business for us. And if we don't jump into this train, we are some way out of our core business. That's why we want to become a data operator of the IoT. Means, so as I told you, collect, identify, store, secure, give the ability to developers worldwide or the community or the customers on a B2B mode, on a B2C mode, on a B2B2C mode to cross, exchange, develop, analyze the data from this object. That's why the Data Venue platform, with its different elements for processing and scripting data, will help us to achieve this ambition. So Data Venue is the foundation of our ambition of IoT data operator. We will make some announcement in some days around that publicly, so I won't go deeper today on that. This will include already, because it's already used by many startups and particular B2B partners on the beta version. This includes combining data from different sources, Orange data from its network and its customer. Sorry, I give you all the participants to Data Venue. So Orange is a big provider of data. We are compliant for sure with the regulator, the CNIL in France and the other regulators in Europe, in Africa and Middle East, where we are making business. And France, for this part, is a very constrained country, but it's a good fact that because if we pass in France, normally we pass everywhere. So it's a good point to deal with the regulator in France because it's a good step. Then we want to cross with some of the data of our partners. Open data, obviously, everyone here know Henri Verdier and all the governmental initiative around that. And we provide on this platform the APIs, I mean, very simple way for developer to access Orange assets. I told you about the connectivity, but here you have the data connector, the storage of our data center, the authentication and the security. No use to reinvent a way to authenticate to a secured service. You can take it on the shelf via an API on Data Venue. The same for storage, the same for rules management, or I could have added billing, for example. So the foundation, the cloud service, the services to process the data. So here you have different layers of services you can use on the platform to crunch the data, to invent new apps and new services. And to realize this ambition, we have to achieve critical mass very quick, to converge all the data from the Orange network to Data Venue. That's the minimum we can do as an operator. So do it, eat our own pet food, and beginning with the Orange data, we have a lot. And consider partnership, open innovation, as you can hear me, is very eccentric for us. This means partnerships on the verticals, because we are not relevant on that, to enable and to power some, I would say, strategic plan 2020 for our B2B partners, because in fact, every strategy plan of each players, you have seen Michelin, we could have had so many logos on the press, are data-driven and IoT/data-driven, IoT generating the data. Data security is very important. We have signed, and Stéphane Richard has been the first CEO to sign a chart for the respect of personal and private data. So that's very important for us. We cannot imagine capture some value if we are not at ease with the end consumer acceptance. And the fact that it not only accept, because you know when you validate some service provider on the internet, conditions générales de vente, general condition for sales, it's a piece of bullshit, because you say okay or okay, so okay, I will choose okay. That's very cool for the end consumer. So we want to give to the end consumer the choice to know what we will do with his data, and if we want that we do that or not, and with just a click have the way to change the use of their data. So in conclusion, to succeed in IoT, we must take into account the specificities of this activity. IoT is a broad field. We can capitalize on our key assets, connectivity, distribution. It's a world in construction. We have to develop our business support to startups, to small and medium enterprises, and to B2B major sector vertical partners. That's so important for us. And we have, in some way, to participate to the incubation or the acquisition strategies. That's why earlier this year, we decided at Orange to launch Orange Digital Venture, which is a corporate venture. We invest from 500K to, let's say, 3 or 4 million euros in early stage, in the 2 or 3 first years maximum of the company, if possible in the first months, in order to be sure that we are at the right moment of the development, in the ability to accelerate and participate to this acceleration, because innovation massively is produced by new companies and small companies that are nimble and very skilled on these topics. The context is heterogeneous, very complex, and what we have to do is establish our position in the value chain and build the partnership and the way to make all these things communicate. We have to open new territory, the data processing, and on the educational effort for our customer, give a high priority to the customer experience and the customer security. That's all for me. Thank you very much for your attention. So I forgot this one, but it's very interesting because it's a kind of Facebook wall, but for the connected object, the way you can interact with your objects. Thank you.
Thank you, Luc. Let's move on to the first roundtable dedicated to the consumer IoT, which covers essentially smart home, automotive, and both B2C and B2B2C application. So I would like to welcome on stage Ludovic Lemoine from Sigfox, Bernardo Cabrera from Bouygues Telecom, Olivier Carmona from AWOX, and Xavier Boitvézy from SEB, and this roundtable will be moderated by Vincent Bonneau, the Head of Innovation Business Unit at IDATE.